28 years old, and I just moved back in with my mom and dad in their house. So I'm going to tell you guys why and talk on going backwards in your 20s. Some might ask, why did you move back after living on your own for 5 years and having a nice 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment to live in a little room that you do not fit in? Society definitely puts time limits and expectations on people that I don't believe in anymore. I did for a long time, and I feel like that's why I stayed living out on my own, because I felt like it would be going against everything to move back in with my parents. I also felt like it was going to make me look less accomplished if I said I lived out on my own for so long to just go back to my parents' house. But if I listened to the world's rules, then I would already be married right now with kids. That's not happening. I feel like this world pushes that you're less of a person if you don't do the steps that they tell you to do, and that is completely false. I think if we all took the pressure off of what you had to be by a certain age, we would all be less stressed and more at peace and more happy. When I tell y'all, I have not been this happy in such a long time by just listening to myself and God, not listening to whatever the world says I need to be. Everyone has their own timelines. Everyone has their own lifespans. They're not designed to be the same. We're comparing ourselves to everyone else. So unrealistic to compare yourself to people who have bought houses at such young ages in the past, because the past is not the present. My parents bought their house for $150,000. Today, their house is going for $600,000. I personally can't afford to have my own house right now, so I might as well live in my parents and help my family. I'm looking at this like a slingshot. I'm taking myself backwards to launch myself forward, and just by living here for the few months that I have, I've already saved thousands of dollars. I'm finally going to tell you guys though why I moved back in and what had happened that led me to this point. I know you guys have asked and I've avoided, so I'll tell you now. As you guys know, I lived in a garage apartment and I moved into it in February of 2023, which means my lease was officially up February 2024. I felt so strongly when it was time to re-sign my lease that God told me, do not do that. I have better for you. Trust me. Did I trust him? No, hand me those papers, girl. We're signing. Yeah, I went against him and I signed another 6 months. Mental health at that point was already on the floor. So I don't think staying alone and being by myself 24/7 helped that at all. It didn't. There would be days, 24-hour span, where I wouldn't even open my mouth to talk. The way that I just watched myself declining that whole time because I was too stubborn. There is no such thing as going backwards, because every single day you are evolving with age. Being in an apartment all day and not seeing life because I couldn't afford to was just hurting me. I feel like things had to get really bad in order for me to realize what was best for me. But also I did mention I woke up in the middle of the night and I left my apartment and I haven't been back since. Something terrifying did happen multiple times in my old apartment. Thankful that they did, because if it didn't happen that way, then I would still be stuck there. And I was still stuck in contracts, so I was paying on my apartment's rent and I had to pay rent here. It's just my morals and my respect chose to pay rent here, because I'm not gonna take up somebody's space and not give them anything. My grandma had just passed away as well in June, and I felt like this was the perfect time for me to ground myself again with my family. Plus, you guys don't understand like how nice it's been that if I want to have a conversation, I have 5 individuals living with me. And if I'm feeling bored, my family and I were like this. So I just get to go sit on their bed and hang out with them. I literally feel like I'm a kid again. Home cooked meals, have to be home by a certain time so my parents don't freak out. And we're collecting plushies. If you have been struggling or going back and forth and trying to figure out what the right choices are for you, pray about it. Ask God to show you. Ask yourself and stop listening to everybody else. Only you know yourself and the right choices for yourself. So excited to be back and to show you guys my crazy family. I'm gonna do so much more videos with them because I actually live here. I'm also going to do a bunch of videos on like the transitioning phase from living on your own to moving back home. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I missed you guys and I can't wait to post again. If y'all stayed this long, leave a heart in the chat so I can go spam your page. Love you guys.
I am 29 years old and I just moved back in with my daddy. Actually, I can't even say back in with my daddy because I ain't lived with my daddy since I was like 2 years old. But I just moved in with my daddy. And I know a lot of people gonna be like, girl, you was way too old to be living with your dad. Like, I don't care. I literally have no bills. One thing my daddy do is he like to eat. So guess what? There's so much food in the house, bro. This man cleans. He cleans. He even ironed my clothes for church on Sunday. And he fills all of the cars up with gas once a week. The only thing I'm asking is, why didn't I do this sooner? When I tell y'all, living with my daddy is like healing my soul, healing my childhood trauma, healing my trauma with men. And the bar has been set high for my husband. Because if my dad cooks, cleans, and irons my clothes, you think I'm gonna be with a man that don't do the same? I moved out of my mother's home when I was 18 years old. I was very rebellious. I was very much on, I'm going to do whatever I want when I want to do it because I'm grown now. And for the past 10 years of my life, I have been in extreme survival mode. I was always looking for the next hustle. I was always getting the next job. I was always trying to find the next man with some money. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And living with my dad has literally showed me what it's like to be loved and cared for. There has been days that I wake up with anxiety, thinking that I need to go get some money or something. And God has to bring me back to reality. You ain't got nothing to do. Go read the Bible. Go work on that book I told you to write. Go and relax, because you deserve a season of rest. And so I don't know who need to hear this. I don't know who is out there still paying $2,000 in rent right now, struggling. But baby girl, if you can, go live with your parents. Until my husband comes and finds me, you gonna catch me in my daddy's house. Amen? Amen.
A couple people have asked me, what's it like living with my parents, or like, how did the conversation go to live with my parents, or like, what do they say to you about like your plans and your timelines? And to keep it simple, like, they don't say anything. And it's not lost on me like how fortunate and grateful and lucky I am to have parents that operate that way. But like, it sincerely was a conversation of like, hey, I'm thinking about stepping away from my job and moving back in so that I can have a little bit of breathing room to figure out like what I want to do next, instead of just like taking a short break and then having the pressure to figure out immediately like what I'm going to do next. And, you know, they were like, okay. And we had like a little conversation about it, but nothing set in stone. And then literally one day I like walked in with my dog and I said, I have an announcement. And, you know, my parents are rather quiet people. They just stared at me and I said, my dog and I are moving in. And my dad goes, when? I go, in 7 days. And that was it. And since I've been there, there has been no questioning or rushing of like, when am I going to figure it out? How am I going to figure it out? I share with them like what I'm working on, what my journey is, but like, I think I'm going to get emotional. I'm really, really grateful that they have just like, you know, given me this space. I would not be able to do what I'm doing currently if it were not for them. And that is not lost on me in the slightest bit. So they annoy the hell out of me sometimes, but like, that's parents what parents aren't annoying? But yeah. So I'm just really grateful. And that's like the reality of how that all came to be. So if you're in a season of thinking about moving back home and you have the opportunity to do it, or you have the opportunity for your kids to move back home, like, extend the offer, be gracious. And I will chat with you all later. Doodles.
So I was supposed to be starting a PhD in August. I guess supposed to be starting a PhD in August, and now I am moving back in with my parents when I've not lived with them since I was 17 and started college. So let's talk about it. I did college and then I worked in research, did my master's degree and then worked. But I currently am on a contract because I was supposed to be starting a PhD in the fall. So I did not look for a long-term job and now I don't have one. So my contract for my current job, which I love, is up in November. And because of funding cuts, I've decided to put the PhD on hold. So I deferred my admission. I can go back in 2026 if I decide to, but until then, I am moving home and trying to figure out what's next. So it's very stressful because I feel like I'm going to feel like my life is on pause, but I'm trying to think of the positives. Like, I can save money and I can figure out what I really want to do and where I really want to be before I make my next move. So it'll be okay.
I recently moved in with my parents, and listen. Hello? Hello? Nobody here but me and the dog. And I love that for me.
If you know, you know.
Hey, that period, if you ever have to go from living by yourself to living with your parents again for whatever reason, let's be honest here. We're going to be honest. It's a little bit embarrassing and it's annoying. Hey, I love my parents, but going from peace and quiet to having to hear them screaming, yelling, laughing, farting all the time, it can't be good for your mental health. And they nosy as hell. I couldn't walk in the house without nothing to eat without them saying, hey, what you got? Damn, I should have just ate my shit in the car. Can't put nothing in the refrigerator for you to eat for just yourself. My dad would eat everything. I remember the final straw when I had to get the fuck out. I put a whole watermelon in the refrigerator. Mind you, it's all peak season, so I had to spend like $15 for it. My dad ate the whole thing and didn't give a damn. But there are good things about living with your parents. Hey, no rent. I was just helping them out just a little bit, but I was able to pay off my credit cards in full, save up a little bit of money, and get my credit right. I did what I needed to do to get the fuck out of there. And I'm sure with the layoffs and this recession probably happening, it's going to be a lot more people moving back with their parents. And you know what? Do what you got to do. It's been years for me alone now, but hey, I remember that time with my parents like it was yesterday. I love my parents, but I'm going to love them from a distance going forward.
Moving back in with your parents, especially in a Black household, has got to be the jokes of all jokes. Legit. Ain't no peace. Ain't no teamwork. Ain't no parent, because clearly, you know, they had us for nothing. Like, why can't, like, Black people, like, actually come together and be a family like these other race? And I'm not saying other race probably don't experience that, but I know they don't experience with the Black child experience. If you know, you know. I'm not about to go into detail, but if you know how it's like moving back in home with your people. And in this economy, you would think they would be open to, like, you know, come home, save money, you know, pay. You gotta pay a bill or something. I don't mind that, but you know, just come save money. Let's figure out that. Right? Whatever. I don't care what age if I ever have a child, I don't care what age my child is. They have to come back home. Baby, come home. And just because you decide to come home, I'm not going to cost you your peace or your sanity. Do your thing. You're grown. Save your money. You have to pay at least one bill. But I want you to do what's best for you. You have a place to lay your head peacefully. Especially with a Black mom and the daughters. Ladies, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Please, I know I'm not talking. There's something with that, with moms and the daughters. Because are you a hater? Oh my God.
Packed my lovely Jeep, drove 13 hours, and never looked back. I guess part 2 of life after divorce, moving back in with your parents. So when I was in Houston, I was debating if I was going to leave my house and maybe go get an apartment and just start over there, or if I was going to actually Houston altogether and move back home with my parents. And I made the decision to leave Houston and move back with my parents because I do have 2 younger sisters, no family in Houston. So once I decided that I was actually going to move, the preparation began. So of course I had to deal with the house situation, pack. I was in a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that I packed up by myself. Packed up over the months. Like once I made the decision that I was going to leave, I just started packing. I'm like, whatever I'm not using every single day, pack it up. Do I need this? Do I want to keep this? Sell it. Get rid of it. Put it to the curb. Like just little by little, I started getting myself together to go. Packed up all the stuff in the U-Haul pods, had it shipped to where I am now, and then packed my lovely Jeep with as much as I could, got in my car, drove 13 hours, and never looked back. It was very bittersweet. I was hopeful for the future and very excited for what's to come. You know, I always think about like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to meet? You know, who's going to be my future partner? Who are going to be my future friends? Want to meet new friends? but it was also bitter because I was leaving behind the life that I knew, the house that I lived in, that I bought on my own when I was in my 20s, leaving my group of friends that I have grown to love and the bonds that I have formed with them. I had to, in a sense, leave that behind because I was leaving the state that we all lived in. And then moving back home with my parents was not the most exciting thing because I'm sure others can relate. You know, sometimes our parents are they're just a different breed, you know. We think differently. I think my generation, I'm a millennial, I'm 35, going on 36. We are breaking generational curses. We are not repeating the same cycles. We have a different mindset. We're more open. We're healing, you know, so we communicate differently and we just have more of an open mind. And our parents, unfortunately, do not. So talking to them is like talking to a brick wall. Just being around them, the energy is just different. It's not very light. It's very heavy. It's very negative. It's very stagnant. That is the main word. It's very stagnant. Like they just repeat the same cycles that they have been repeating since I've been on this earth. And that's a long time to be doing the same shit. Like, are y'all not tired? Y'all not tired about bickering about the same stuff? No? So I was not looking forward to that. But, you know, that's minor. You know, I can deal with it. I can go to my room and not be around them. I can leave the house. So
whoever in your mid to late 20s, rather do it now than have to move back home in my mid 30s. All of a sudden I'm in my 30s and I literally have no savings. I have $0. I have nothing because I wanted to live on my own. No. So we're moving back home. I keep telling myself I'm okay with that, but I'm struggling. Definitely struggling for sure. I want to save money, be able to live my life. I want to be able to take a vacation. I never go on vacations or do anything because I don't have the money, or if I do have the money, I don't have extra money to cover taking time off of work because I don't have that much PTO. So it's just an endless cycle of I literally can't do anything because I have no money. I'd rather live at my parents' house for a little bit and be able to enjoy my life. I really do not buy myself anything anymore. I only spend my money on my rent, my bills, gas, and food. I spend a lot of money on groceries. I do love to cook fancy meals, so I spend a lot on groceries regardless. It's like miss being able to just go and buy a t-shirt or like a cute pair of pants. I have literally no money at all. I also have realized that living with a roommate is just not for me. If you're my roommate watching this, love you. I want to live by myself. Kind of ironic me saying I want to live by myself as I'm going to move back home with my parents to the middle of nowhere. That's funny. But hopefully in like a year's time, I'll be able to live on my own. I have become very much so a homebody. I've really changed in the last year. I used to be a part of a big friend group, constantly like partying and going out. I really didn't drink that much. I've never been a huge drinker, but definitely just like being in that atmosphere of being out all the time, going out, hanging out, like being up all hours of the night. And now I want to be home by like 9 o'clock in my bed, either reading or just like scrolling on TikTok or working on Canva edits, like doing something. I'm now into running and I just want to be home afterwards, making dinner and going to bed. I'm just like a very at-home person and I just want my own space and to like live on my own, worry about someone else's schedule or like what friends they're having over or what they're doing. And I prefer living by myself. I lived on my own for over a year. So my whole goal of moving home is so that I can save up money and have a little bit more of a savings when I go to move out again on my own. That way I have a little cushion in case like things go wrong or if I need some extra money here and there, because right now I got no savings. And by paycheck to paycheck, and it's stressing me out. And I feel like all the stress that I have from finances is taking years off of my life. I've seen a bunch of videos of people being like, oh, I'm moving back home with my parents in my 20s. And they show their parents' house and it's like these beautiful homes not that I'm not appreciative of my parents' house. I would literally take anything. I'm not going home to like a huge house where I have my own space. No, back to having no dishwasher. That's okay. That's fine. I will survive without a dishwasher. I just feel like not a lot of people on TikTok show like moving back in with your parents if they're not rich or like don't live in a fun city. My parents literally live quite literally in the middle of nowhere. I just thought it would be fun to document my journey of moving back home. So if you want to see that or hear my rants about the process of moving back and living with my parents, follow along because I'm sure there'll be more car rants to come. Wish me luck, guys.
Can we normalize moving back with your parents in like your 20s and even 30s? Like, it is hard out here for us. Everything is so expensive. Rent is so expensive. My husband and I moved out on our own for the first time after getting married. And after a year, we decided to move back in with my dad and save up to hopefully buy a house. Obviously not anytime soon, and obviously not in Southern California because interest rates are way too high and everything is just way too expensive right now. But I think moving back in with your parents in your 20s, even 30s is a lot more common than people think. I don't think anyone should be ashamed of it. And if you're lucky enough to have your parents to fall back on and to move back in, I think you should take full advantage of it and just feel blessed that you have that as an option because
Y'all not gonna want to hear this, but the best thing you could do is move back in your parents' house, save your money, get yourself out of survival mode, stop drinking, lose the weight, stop spending money on super stuff, cut off friends that ain't good for you, lock in, and your life gonna get 20 times better. You gonna feel better, you gonna look better. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like the worst thing to do. But when you get out of survival mode, your life changes for the better. You're going to become the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself. And I'm just saying this mainly for women because when we in survival mode and fight or flight mode for all of our lives because we out here trying to do it on our own, if you got the option to go back to your house, like if you have a house at home and your bedroom is still there, and I know we have pride sometimes and we don't want to do it. We don't want to feel like we're going backwards. I did not want to do it. I didn't want to do it. But I took the opportunity to do it anyway. I had to put my pride to the side, and I'm going to say it is the best decision ever. I don't think I'm always going to be here, but one thing I do know is that it has saved me from so much. You save so much money, but you also have the time to just find yourself and get your life together, to work on you, to work on yourself. Like, stop letting social media make you feel like you have to prove to people that you are on a certain level. And it's okay to take a break sometimes. It's okay to have time to come back to yourself. It's okay to take a step backwards. You don't know where that boomerang is going to sling you back forward to. Please, whoever needs this advice, I'm not even going to add no hashtags. Whoever needs this advice, like, if it's on your mind and you feel like it's something that you have to do, like you may have to go back home to get yourself together, do it. You are not going to regret it. I don't regret it at all. I know that I'm going to be where I want to be. I don't know how soon, but I know that I'm going to get everything back that I had. I know I'm going to get back where I need to be. I'm going to be in a better space. But this time that I have right now, coming home to just come back to myself has saved me. And there's no way I could have done it in survival mode. So whoever needs that advice, there you go.
Living at home was never the plan, but I have been living back with my mom for the last 9 months now. And I wanted to talk about maybe the biggest pro of moving back in that I think is worth considering if you are in a situation where you could live with family for a short to midterm amount of time. So hear me out. I am a hypnotherapist. I work for myself. It's a one-woman show and I love what I do. I genuinely love getting to work with people in this way. But as with any business, it's not really linear and things are constantly changing and I'm constantly refining what I'm doing to grow my business. And in order to focus on my business or in order to even pursue this at all, when I was living on my own, which I was doing for the last, 6.5, almost 7 years, completely alone, no roommates. I have a cat, but otherwise alone. I was doing so many other jobs. I was a nanny. I was a freelance writer. I was a yoga teacher. I worked part-time as a temp for my former university's admissions team every winter. Like, the list goes on, and it was so stressful. And I think my nervous system got so used to constantly being in go, go, go mode that I didn't actually realize what it was like to rest. And I didn't realize that I didn't realize it until maybe like, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks after moving back in with my mom. And I was like, oh wow, if I'm tired, like I can rest. I can sleep like a full night of sleep if I want to. I don't have to constantly be thinking of how to make this happen or that happen. I don't have to constantly be like working, doing this job over here and that job over there. Like, I could just focus on this thing that I really want to work out. And so, look, everyone's situation is going to be different, right? You have to figure out what is best for you. There's also cons that go along with moving back in with family as an adult, and we can talk about those in another video if you want. But I think if you are in a position where you really want to pursue a certain line of work or a certain degree or something that is going to stretch you or require you to be super stretched thin by living on your own, if you have the opportunity to live with family or to have some sort of living situation that gives you more stability and more groundedness, I really think it's worth considering.
So if you're living at home, here's a tip. I see so many people moving back in with their parents, and I'm like, y'all, I never left. I did an internship in Florida, came back, I knew this was home. You do this short-term, thing for a long-term investment in the end, right? And I think to myself, I have forever to have my home and my peace and my sanity. That's longevity. Do this for now. So the tip is, you know your parent. Try to be one step ahead of them. So because I'm home, I'm saving tons of money. Whether it's mom or dad, once a month, just do something nice. And it can be so simple. And this will just decrease the arguments and the nagging and the things, that go on in the day-to-day household when you're living with your parents. Whenever you go somewhere, you ask, does anybody need anything? And granted, you might think that's so simple, but you'll be surprised. So many people that are living with their parents, but they live like this double life and act as if like their parents don't exist, right? So I went to the nail shop like I typically do. My mom was like, can you run a Walmart for me? At first I was about to say like, that was not my plan today. But I was like, you know what? Yes. She tried to give me the money for what she needed. I was like, nope, I have it, right? Only because this will decrease the argument in the long run. Not saying I deserve a cookie for being a great child, but I'm just saying it will decrease the arguments if you just do something like once a month. So small. And then be ahead of the chores. Because your parents are only getting older and slower at this point. Not slower as in like mentally, but like their bodies are moving like turtles. So if anything, if there's dishes, I'll already do it. Trash, I'll already do it. I'm like one step ahead. So what is there to even argue about? And then I will plan my life around the things that I have to do. I'm just saying, try it when you go back home so you don't have to argue as much.
If you are fortunate enough to live with your parents or have a situation where like a family member is willing to let you stay with them and you don't have to like really pay rent, and it's a situation that you can actually like tolerate, do it. For the last 10 years of my life, I've been renting, and I've moved home like a few times, but this is probably like the most disciplined I've been when I move home, because like I'll move home and I would just like blow money and be out on the weekends all the time, splurging, traveling, just blowing my money and not saving. But this time around, I'm just like in a different stage and phase of my life. And I've actually been saving money for a house. And like, I'm not going to share too much, but things are going well. And like on average, I've been able to save like $2,000 a month living with my parents. I haven't even been here that long, but I just noticed like a big change in my discipline with spending money. Like I used to just splurge and buy stuff and like run up credit card, and I don't do any of that anymore. Like I really do not use my credit card, like unless I actually have to. Like I had an emergency at the vet, use it for that. But the point I'm saying is, if you are blessed enough to stay with family members and save your money, like really save your money, because this economy is not no joke. And I just think some people take that for granted. Like I understand wanting your independence and I feel like everybody like wants the luxury apartment and to live that lifestyle. And it's like, I've lived it, baby. It's nice, especially when you can afford it. It's nice. But I'm just in a different space. I'm about to be in my 30s. So it's like, I want to own something. And I'm just like really proud of myself for like staying the course, being disciplined, making sacrifices. Like everything that I own that was in my apartment is literally in this room in storage. Like I don't even have a real closet right now. As you see, this is like my jewelry and stuff. Like I don't sleep in here. This is just where I get ready. But it's like the fact that I made a really, really big sacrifice to live with my parents, like sacrificing just like more times with friends and stuff because I'm further away from like where my life is. But all in all, I just feel like I'm actually getting something out of this. Like the fact that I've been able to save money, my credit score has gone up, like I'm in the home buying process. Like it's just like, okay, like it's worth it. Sometimes you got to make those sacrifices because it's worth it. And in a couple months, I'll be having the keys to my house.
I moved back in with my parents like a month ago after being on my own for like a year and a half. And at first I was super depressed about it because I'm losing my freedom and it feels like such a loser thing to do. But now I don't have any bills to pay. And I actually feel very free. I feel quite free. Yesterday, my mom made me breakfast, baby, and I didn't have to do anything. I feel really good. I feel really good. The whole independent woman thing, it was cute. It was cute while it was cute, but I'm having a lot better time not having to pay rent every month, Nothing is my responsibility anymore. And that's actually goals. So I won't be moving out again until I get married. I'm good with that.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, just move home. Just moved back home. I'm 29 years old. 29 years old. I just moved from living in the city by myself, Chicago, to the suburbs in my parents' house. And my parents don't have a huge, big, fancy house. We're not rich or anything like that. But to have the opportunity to live at home and not be so stressed out all the time about paying $2,000 a month in rent, it's priceless. It's priceless. Do you guys know how much money I have now? How many things I can do? Okay, I could go get Botox anytime I want. I could buy a house in 2 years if I wanted.
I'm in denial that I'm moving back in with my parents at the age of 28. Last month, I walked away from a 6-year-long relationship, and honestly, I'm not sure where I want to live. My job's completely remote, and my company's based in Australia, so realistically, I could pick anywhere. And being able to choose anywhere almost makes it harder because how the heck do you pick? But while I decide, I thought it'd be nice to spend some time with my family. I saw a video a couple weeks ago that said if you're in your late 20s and you only see your parents 2 or 3 times a year, you'll only see them about 50 more times in your life. And I guess this whole situation has really made me start to reflect that you actually never know how much time you're going to get with someone and to appreciate the chances that you do have. So in a weird way, I'm really grateful for this opportunity and I'm trying to make the best of it. Walking around my old neighborhood, eating family dinner every night and going out to the movies or getting ice cream, and really just trying to accept that, sometimes life changes and there's nothing you can really do.
So it is officially 30 days before my golden birthday, and I am sitting in my old room at my dad's house. The reason that I'm here is because I had to move back in, not by choice, but it's something that I feel like I had to do because God was pulling me out of something that was comfortable and familiar with me, but was no longer serving me. And it was a very hard thing for me to accept and come to the realization that this is what I had to do because I did a lot of suffering here. I've cried many days, had many lonely nights. I lived here. I dwelled in such a negative, low energy and vibration, like almost literally, quite literally took me out. So obviously, I was disappointed because I felt like, wow, God, I've done so much work to get past this point. I've done so much to break through the barrier and separate myself. And I've taken accountability and responsibility for my healing, my growth, the part that I'm playing in my life and my future and my relationships and just everything. And I've been doing the work. I've been growing and I've been evolving. And I think that God knew. He saw that and he realized that I had grown all that I could grow where I was. I had done all that I could do. I have evolved and progressed to the fullest extent for myself at that time. And he knew that where he's taking me, my trauma, my pain, my self-concept, my limiting beliefs, my negative thought processes, my deep-rooted self-sabotaging behaviors, all of these things could no longer be attached to me if I was going to move further. A lot of people think that when they go to cultivate this new lifestyle, this new reality, and they go to manifest these blessings into their lives, that they can just force their minds into submission, or they could force reality to bend to their will. But you don't understand that you literally create your own reality based on your perception of yourself. Your reality will always tell you exactly who you believe you are in that moment. It's hard to hear, but honestly and truly, nothing is going to move for you until you start to believe that you're worthy of the things that you're pursuing. God knew that there was things that I was running from. There was trauma that I had not healed. There was pain and damage that I had not come to terms with, had not taken accountability for, had not been honest with myself about. There were things about my self-concept, my belief system, my identity that were still attached to me that were no longer in alignment with the direction that God was pulling me. So he had to bring me back to the source. He had to bring me back to the place. He had to bring me back to the pain so that I could look at it, so that I could see it, so that I could acknowledge it, and that I could send it off with love and grace. I can be grateful for the growth that I see in myself, and I can release that part of myself. I'm unlocking a new level. We all are. It's not a setback. It's not failure. It's just that we have to release things that are no longer serving us. Don't be afraid to step away from what's comfortable or what you're familiar with and step forward and follow God. So for the next 30 days, join me. I'm going to be here every day, just sharing my thoughts, things about my life, and just using my platform to inspire others and to also remind myself that, you know what, I am growing. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. And I think 26 is going to be a big year for me. So I'm excited.
Home with your parents in your 20s is a really odd thing because yes, I'm saving so much money. It's also really weird because, I used to live in my own apartment. So now when I want to go cook something, I can't just get home from whatever I'm doing and go in the kitchen and cook. Like, I wait for my parents to go to sleep, then I can use the kitchen. Or something as simple as like, I really just want to light a candle. I can't. I'm not allowed to light candles in my house because I'm so forgetful. What if I burn down the whole house? And it's so weird because I've known that moving home with my parents is such a temporary thing. The point wasn't me moving home to stay there forever. It was just to move home for a little bit. I ended up going to cosmetology school and stayed a little bit longer than expected, but all my stuff is still in boxes. So for a whole year, I felt like I'm a guest living in my childhood bedroom, which is no longer my childhood bedroom. It's just a room that I've taped a few things to the wall and everything else is still in boxes and my life is discombobulated and I'm in a stage of limbo because this is not where I'm actually gonna be, but I'm working at a pizza place again when I was in high school, and I don't know, oh my gosh, it's so weird.
I'm moving back in with my parents, and I'm honestly so excited about it. I feel like that's not something you hear people say often. Not that they're not moving back in with their parents, because I feel like a lot of people have done that since the pandemic, but that they're excited about it. I wasn't excited at first, because I feel like I had some shame around it, as if that's not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But once I worked through that, I just couldn't be more excited. I live in SF, but I'm from Cleveland. I realized that San Francisco is not a place that I want to call home any longer, but my job is here. And the only way that I can keep my job is if I stay in San Francisco. And I don't want to. You know where I'm going with this? I don't have a new job yet, so I can't just up and move to another apartment in another city. So I'm going to go stay with my parents. I just couldn't be more excited for the opportunity to just relax. Adulting is hard. Making sure the money is good, making sure I'm fed, making sure I have 3 meals planned for myself every single day, budgeting, working, obviously, all while trying to take care of myself, keep a social life, make sure my skin, hair is healthy, exercising, being on top of my self-care, and just all the other little nuances that come with being an adult. And the amount of burnout that I've experienced is unreal. And I know a lot of you can agree with me on that. My skin is telling me a story. My nail beds are telling me a story. I literally bit them. My hair, it's easy on a day-to-day to tell myself that I'm fine. But it's if I really look at myself, I am not okay. I need this time to reset so bad. To be in my feminine, to not be in fight or flight, to truly focus on my well-being. It's hard to focus on any of that when you're just trying to survive. Because I just feel like a huge part of adulting is just not focusing on yourself. The time for that, you have to fight for it almost, And that's just it. I have not been thriving. I have been surviving. And I feel like it probably doesn't look like it from the outside. I still get dolled up. I go on vacations. I take trips. I go on my spa dates, you guys know. But like deep down, I am anxious. Deep in my gut, I have a feeling of anxiousness that I cannot shake. And I know that it's because of the constant anxiety that is my life. Like, it's one thing to eat a slice of cake while you're super anxious, but it's another thing to enjoy a slice of cake when you are at peace, okay? Like, it's not the same vibe. You get what I'm saying? I say all this to say that if you are in a space where you're moving back home or you already did it and you feel like shit about it, please don't. Please enjoy it. Please savor it. If it's a safe environment, of course, bask in it. Relax. Do all the things that you have not had a chance to do. And do all the things you can to get your nervous system back in check. And just trust that everything will work out, because it will. You won't be there forever. And there are things that you're going to miss about it when you leave. Okay? Bye.
Why does no one prepare you for how genuinely fucking crazy living with your parents as an adult will make you feel? Especially when you've already lived on your own for like a significant amount of time and you end up moving back in with your parents. That shit is so fucking humbling. I was living on my own, well, like with roommates, but you know, on my own, out in Utah, where the rent for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment was $1,500. I paid $500 in rent to have a gigantic master bedroom and bathroom. I wanted to move back to California, like where I'm from, so I moved back in with my dad because rent free. Yeah, I'm financially stable, but at what fucking cost? It sucks because I feel fucking ungrateful. Like, I love my dad, I do. And the fact that I get to live in Orange County, California, which is like ridiculously expensive and super close to LA, which is also ridiculously expensive, and I get my own bedroom and bathroom for literally no rent. Right, like I need to be grateful, but oh my god! I hate it here. I'm living in my fucking childhood bedroom. And mind you, I've been living on my own since I was 18 because I got kicked out like less than a month after I turned 18. I feel like a kid again, and like not in a good way. There's very little room for personal growth when you shove yourself back in a cocoon that you have already grown out of. And it sucks because I feel like there's this resentment that builds up. And it's like, I love my dad. I don't want to resent him. But when he's just there all the fucking time, like, I have a cat, so I can't keep my doors closed, right? I have to keep my doors open or my cat will just fucking sit there and scream. My dad just walks right through him. Walks right through him. I'm a grown woman! You know how long it's been since I can't even sleep the fucking bed! Let alone, like, God forbid, bringing someone home and fucking them in my bed. I can't do that shit. I'm not doing that shit in my childhood fucking bedroom when I live with my dad. And I've tried to be like, yo, can you please just like fucking not? Like, it's his house. I get it. It's his house. You can open my bed. Like, oh my god. You know it's bad when like the sound of their footsteps coming towards your room fills you with fucking rage. But I feel so fucking bad because it's like, damn, he is just letting me live in his house rent free. I'm a grown adult. I should be able to like pay my own bills and pay my own fucking rent. Also, inflation. What the fuck do you mean it will cost me $1,500 for one room in an apartment split with multiple people? What the fuck? And I am very lucky in the fact that like he lets me leave the house whenever. Like I can go do whatever the fuck I want. But it's the constant like having to check in and having to tell someone, yep, I'm alive. Yep, I'm going here. I'm hanging out with this person. Like I'm a fucking teenager again. And him constantly coming back to me like, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need me to do this for you? And it's like, fuck. I should be grateful, right? I should be happy. I should feel loved that someone cares enough to like care if I'm okay and to consistently check in on me. And if you've never experienced this situation, then yeah, I probably sound like an ungrateful fucking bitch. But if you have experienced the situation, you know what I mean. It like just slowly drives you crazy because it's like, bro, I'm an adult, but I really just don't fucking feel like one. I miss feeling genuinely independent and feeling like I can take care of myself. I miss getting to have people over and like hosting events and just hosting people. Don't even get me fucking started on the decor because, oh my god, why do all the common areas look like that? I miss being able to decorate and living in like a cute apartment, having any fucking say on anything that goes on inside the house. Mark my fucking words, 2024, my goal is to move back out because y'all, I cannot fucking do this anymore.
I'm turning 29 this year and I'm moving back in with my parents. Let's talk about it. I've been living completely on my own since I turned 25. No roommates for the last 4 years. Really be able to appreciate things a little differently when you have to afford everything on your own. Now, don't get me wrong, I can afford living on my own, but the closer I get to 30, the more and more I want to stop renting and start owning. Let's be honest, in this economy, that is not the easiest thing. Paying rent completely on your own while simultaneously trying to save up for a down payment on a house simply just is not working for me. Now, is it possible? Sure. But my thought is if I move in with my parents for the next year and save up the $1,500 I've been paying for rent every month, I will be able to buy a house, hopefully by the time I'm 30. I like to kind of destigmatize that because I remember when I was in my early 20s being so desperate to move out of my parents' house, and everybody always told me like, girl, stay as long as you possibly can. It's brutal out in the real world. But it's one of those things that no matter how many people told me, I don't think I was really going to understand until I actually experienced it myself. Again, don't get me wrong. I do think living alone is something everyone should experience. It's so freeing. It really gives you such a sense of self and independence. It's been great for my personal development and making me appreciate things completely differently. I'm actually going to really miss this chapter of life. Even though at first I felt a little bit like I was going backwards in life by moving back in with my parents, I'm starting to see it as such a blessing that I have the relationship with them that I do, to where this even is an option for me and I can fast track those savings by doing this with them. So I'm going to bring you guys along with me as a 29-year-old who's moving back with her parents to hopefully try to afford a house in this